All right, we're going to do another program today. We're looking at this case study one, hand washing a car. Now, I'm not going to lie, this program is intimidating me. This is obviously one that Mr. Felsavari came up with last year. And I've been sort of thinking about how to do it, and I think I've got an idea, but let's just give it a go. So, this is for calculating wages. So we just have like a console dot write line. What is the worker's name? Be polite. Right? Should we even store it? Maybe not. We'll just not even store it and just have a console dot read line. We don't actually care what their name is. Okay. So yes, we don't care what the worker's name is, but we'll ask anyway. How many hours did they work? Okay. And then we're going to have to store these hours in a variable. Hours as integer. Integer should be floats or be decimal. No, we'll just do integers. And then we'll store hours in this variable. Okay. Now let's think about how we're gonna do this first bit. So they can't work more than 56 hours a week. They can work anything up to 40 hours. So let's say if hours is less than or equal to 40, then we'll just do, I have to have a one called wage, wage as integer. If I know you spell that, integer. Good. Then wage equals hours multiplied by 20. Right? That's how much their wage was. I'm doing that right. $20 an hour, yeah. Alright. And we say, and we'll leave that for now. Alright. So that, we're going to do an else if. Else if hours is less than 56 and hours is greater. Let's start that up. I did less than 56 or equal to 56 and hours is greater than 40. Alright? So is it, they can't work 56 hours, they can't work more than that. Time and a half, work a bit less. It's 8 hours. They work more than 48 hours. But less than 56. Ah, I've got that wrong, right. An even smaller gap. This is 48 to 40. 48 to 40. So the next 8 hours is paid at time and a half. So if this is the case, then wage equals, what I'll do then is I'll do, should I do this? Maybe I need a temporary variable, just in case. I'm sorry, I should explain my reasoning here. But I want to change the number of hours that they work, just in case I need that for later, because there's something about calculating tax. So I'm going to use temp wage instead. Temp wage equals wage. Right? And then temp wage minus 40, not wage, hours. Temp wage equals hours. Alright, so I'm subtracting the 40 hours away. So I know that they've done more than 40 hours. Alright. And then temp wage will equal wage equals is times, so the hourly rate is 20 times 1.5. Right? So essentially it's 30, but I'm just gonna put it in like that, so then it makes a bit more sense. So so we got that, and then we got to also add on. So I'm going to put in brackets so it does bond mass properly. Plus the original 40 hours at regular rate, which is 800. Yeah. So if you're not too sure what I'm saying here, is I'm saying the first 40 hours that they worked was $20 an hour. So that's 800. And then the additional ones over 40, which is why I subtracted 40 away, is paid at this rate. So if they did 5 hours at 20 times 1.5, essentially they get 800 plus 5 times 20 is 100 times 1.5 is 150. They get $950 essentially. And then it's different again because then it's an LCIF. Just going to copy this. I might just copy this whole thing because I'm going to have to muck around with this again now. So LCIF less than or equal to 56. I think it's just less than. I don't think you can work over 56 hours. As far as it's greater than 48. Then what do? We do temp hours minus 48. This is the same sort of things before. This temp wage variable will become how many hours they did. So if it's 50, for example, we're taking the 48 hours away and then we're going to pay them at a different wage. I forgot how to speak. Okay. So we're sort of, and then we're going to add on the maximum amount they could have earned in those 8 hours. So if they did 8 hours at time and a half, that's 8 times 20 times 1.5, that's $240. If you're not that good at maths, you could have just done in brackets 20 times 8 times 1.5. But I can tell you it's 240. Alright, so they get 1,040 plus whatever they did over that, which is paid at double time. So essentially, for those few hours over 48 hours, they're getting $40 now, which is pretty good, right? And then our last LCIF, hours. Red horse. LCIF hours is greater than or equal to 56. Then once all got the right line, you have worked too many hours. Contact your supervisor. Right. So that's if they've done the wrong thing, they worked too many hours. I think that sets up that first bit of our program. So I'm gonna space everything out just for starters and then make sure it all makes sense. But their name and their age, we don't really need to ask their name, but I'm gonna spread these out. So if they work less than 40 hours, it's just their hours times 20. If they work more than 40 hours, we give them their full 20, the 40 hours they work, which is 800. And then we're subtracting 40 hours away from their total number of hours, and we're calculating that little bit extra that they get at time and a half. And then if they work between 48 and 56, we again will credit them with their first 48 hours of work and subtract that away, calculate how much extra they get, and if they work too many, they say contact your supervisor. Great. So that's that. Now, the next bit is a bit that was intimidating me. So we're doing their tax. So what rate are they getting taxed at? So we're going to have to past the if, what are we going to do? So firstly, we're going to put in wage. I'm just going to reuse this temp wage variable. Right, so I'm keeping track of how much they have earned in total. I'm using this temp wage variable to do some calculations with. Right, so temp wage. Now I should use a proper variable for this. Dim tax. It might be a double though. Which, we'll muck around with that if we have to. Alright. So let's say their tax. How are we going to do this? Alright, so temp wage. Now we're going to use this purely for calculating tax and nothing else. Alright. So if their first 200 is tax free, I can subtract away $200 because that doesn't need to be factored into the wages at all. Alright. So I've taken away $200. Although this will cause a problem for people who've worked less than 10 hours, so we can't do it that way. Okay. Oop. New plan. We have to do an if. So if wage is less than 200, let's say equal to 200, then we're just going to say tax equals 0. Console.write. Say your wage. Your wage this week is, and then we'll just chuck in their wage. Yeah. Well, so we'll do that. So that's if they don't get taxed at all. Then we'll say else if wage is greater than 200 and wage is less than 500. 200 and 500. Let's say not equal to 500. Then, okay, so now I need to subtract away the 200 because that's not taxed at all, and then tax the remaining money at a rate of 25%. So we'll say temp wage, we will minus off $200, and we'll say tax equals temp wage times 0.25. Right, so that's 25 cents for every dollar that we made. Right? And then we'll say wage equals, we don't need to do that, wage minus equals tax. We'll subtract the tax away from their wage, and then we'll print out this line here. Alright. I think that will work. This is the original amount of money that they had. We've subtracted 200 away from the temporary wage and then multiplied that by 0.25. And then we've subtracted the tax away from their wage. Yeah, that should make sense. Right. The next one is where it gets really hairy. So let's think about this one. So else if wage is greater than 500. Then what are we doing? Well, so the first 200 is tax-free. The next 300 is 25%. Next 500 is, maybe I should nest these. Might be too complicated. Alright. Yeah, no, I can do it the same way because I know that this will work. Okay, so temp wage will subtract off the initial 200 and 0.25% of figuring this out and 0.25 times 300, whatever that is, it's a quarter, which I'm pretty sure is 75, but it's okay. So what we're doing is we're subtracting away the no tax, and we're subtracting away, that's not going to work, I need to do that later. Alright, so we're subtracting away the money that gets taxed prior to now. You can do that, alright? And then we'll calculate our tax. Sorry, I'm just trying to think this through, so I apologize if you're sick of me like waffling on. Will be equal to temp wage times 0.49. Can I round that to an integer? Just to okay, work that way. Yeah, cool. Alright, so that rounds it to an integer, which is nice. So that plus we have the tax for the previous 300, which is that 0.25 times 300. I understand that this is probably a bit complicated. Some of you might be a little bit lost right now, but I'll talk through the whole program in a second. So we're going to get taxed at this higher rate, plus their tax at a lower rate, and there's no more tax after that. So we do wage minus equals tax. And then we write out the same line. Oh yeah, that is something. I guess that works. Let's try it and see if it works, and I'll talk through the program in a bit more detail after that. Bill, say 23 hours. Your wage for this week is $3.95. Yeah, I should put this in a loop so I don't have to keep running it. How many hours do they work? Let's say 44. Wage for this week is $6.40. Should I tell them how much tax they paid? They guys definitely paid some tax, right? It would have been $8.80. Paid. Backslash working this. Backslash does working. Okay, cool. Total paid was the total tax paid was tax. Let's see, make sure that works okay. Oh, that did not work. Why did I put that in? Maybe they're over that amount. They might be over that amount. Let's try that again. Yeah, work \n. Total tax paid is $476. I think that works out right though. The \n doesn't work. We'll just have to do a new right line. Fortunately, there are BB CRLF. Whatever that is. Alright, maybe CRL. I'd be surprised if this works. Huh. Stuff that one up. Trying to get this wage right. This is not working. Just looking to see if we can do a new line and maybe CRLF. Right, but it has to be outside. Okay, we'll do that and that and that, and that should work. Right? Maybe. Hopefully I didn't just stuff up this whole program. Alright, let's give that another go. Sorry, I'm being a bit pedantic here. I'm just sort of mucking around with it, so if you've had enough, jump off, feel free. Oh, beautiful, how good's that? Perfect. Okay. So if you're not too sure, I'm going to go through this again. So we declare all their variables here. We ask them their name and how many hours they've worked. Then, depending on the result, if they work less than 40 hours, their wage is however many hours they did times 20 will give you their regular wage. If they worked more than that, we count the 800 that they earned from their 40 hours, and the next 8 hours is at 1.5 rate. So we add on 20 times 1.5 times how many hours they did. Then if they did over 48 but less than 56, then we count their 800 for their original 40, their 240 for their next 8 at $30 an hour, and then whatever they made at double time. And then if they work 2 minutes, just contact your supervisor. Then, if their wage was less than $200, they get taxed. So we just say this is your wage. If it's between 200 and 500, right, then we subtract away the 200 that is tax-free, and we tax the rest of it at a rate of 25%, which is why I've done times 0.25. Essentially, this is just figuring out exactly how much I need to take off. Right? And then whatever their total wage is, so let's say it's 500, we'll minus away whatever a quarter of their wage minus 200 is, essentially. So there's $200 tax-free, the rest is at 25%, so we do that, and we subtract it away, and then we print it out. And then the last one, if they make more than 500, right, then we subtract away the previous 500, and then their tax becomes 49% of their wage over 500, plus the 25% of the previous 300, which I know is a little confusing, but that's how tax works, unfortunately. And then anything below that 300 is tax free, so you don't need to do anything with that. And then we print that out. So yeah, that's a bit full on, but hopefully you found something useful from that. All right, thanks guys. See ya. Bye.